could argue, and I would, that the luxury sports sedan was perfected more than 15 years ago with the launch of the E39 chassis BMW M5. This car has the perfect blend of luxury and involvement, speed and handling. No company has come close, not even BMW themselves, to replicating that perfect mixture. And now, in this age of downsized, turbocharged, automatic transmission luxury sedans, it's General Motors that's come closest to replicating that recipe with that thing, the Chevrolet SS. This is the Chevrolet SS. You've seen it before, and no, not because it looks like a Malibu, but because it's the same full-size Australian-built sedan that's been on sale since 2014. Since then, Chevy has made a couple of small improvements to the styling and a few big changes to the chassis tuning. Nothing in this world so wonderful as a Burnout. This is a Holden VF Commodore underneath, which means it's the next generation of the car that was the Pontiac G8 and the Chevy Camaro. It has GM's LS3 under the hood, so a 6.2-liter V8. In this application, it makes 415 horsepower, 415 pound-feet of torque. This motor is from the gods. Not exactly a high-tech showcase. We're talking 60s technology here. But does that really matter? I mean, I think the industry has shown us that when they keep putting all this new tech in these cars and making them faster and faster and faster, they get less fun. This thing is far more fun than any 600 horsepower German sedan. And while we're talking about German sedans, let me remind you of one thing. This car's only competition is the BMW M5 and its M6 Gran Coupe twin. Other than those two, which cost double what the SS does, this is the only manual transmission V8 powered sedan you can buy in America. And those Bimmers, well, they're turbocharged. Cheaters. The best part about driving this car? That stubby gear lever. Gear shift is perfect on this thing. Nice short throws, it feels positive, the clutch engagement's good, the engine responds really well to blips. It's a real driver's car the second you get in it. Remember those changes I said GM made to the SS? Well, 4-piston fixed calipers to the rear match the 4-piston big Brembos up front. An intake resonance tube to fill the cabin with punchy induction noise, and a dual-mode exhaust to spray pedestrians with glorious small-block music. Major changes to the electric power steering calibration make it actually feel natural, and the suspension has been completely revised with all new spring rates and anti-roll bars both front and rear. This revised version of the Zeta platform also has MR dampers, or magneto-rheological shocks. They're infinitely adjustable all the time, so as you turn in, it can stiffen up the car. The ride quality is really good, and then body control, well, far better than anything we can imagine 20 years ago. Who knew those criminals down in Australia could do such a good job with chassis tuning? Which leads me to one missed opportunity. There is a supercharged version of this car available in Australia, and there's also a wagon and a ute. And as a flagship, I would love for Chevy to be like, boom, here's a crazy looking wagon with spoilers and stripes, who knows. Instead, we get this sober looking sedan. And the old M5 did that too, right? It looked perfectly sedate and sober, and then you started it and, does this insanity. Problem is that this car doesn't quite pull off the luxury side of the equation. I mean, the interior is not BMW nice and, old school BMW nice. So it's a little bit of a mixed message. Like, does this want to be a luxury car? Well, by Chevy standards, it's a nice interior. Not by world luxury car standards, though. Beautiful, calm day in the desert. Oh, yeah. Oh, good. I thought I was going to get yelled at. So I spent the day yesterday driving this thing on the road, and I found myself like complaining about little things like scratchy interior plastics and these stupid chrome pieces. And was trying to go to sleep last night, and I kept thinking, I forgot to say that I'm hopelessly in love with this car. Whoops. But no, seriously, like I can't wait for you to drive it.
Jason, when you pulled up to pick me up, I thought you were in your rent-a-car. You just can't tell.
I like a good sleeper. The thing is, this one, like, I like a sleeper that doesn't look like it's going to be fast, but is, but not necessarily a car that doesn't look like it's going to be good, but is. Like, this is kind of a strange sleeper, but it's so good.
Sure does a nice burnout.
It does a
and
great
that's like
burnout.
A shock. Like, somebody will get in this car and think it's a V6 4-cylinder or whatever, rent a car, and then boom, it explodes and just flies off the line, spinning the tires.
We were fucking with people on the highway last night.
Oh, really?
Well, I shouldn't say that. We were messing with people on the highway last night because, people hate to let you pass or they, whatever, and they just sort of just wait until they're next to you and they're looking at you like, oh, some dude's in his rental car. And then you just, do one of those and they're like, Jesus, where did that go? Like, where did the Corvette noise come from? So overrated.
Wow, this thing revs for a 6.2 liter.
Yeah, Redline starts at $6,000, but it doesn't pull power until 66.
It just keeps pulling.
You didn't even ask for that. That was just sort of mid-corner, transitions gently into oversteer. I'm talking myself through this because, I really think I'm just going to die.
Balance. All 4 tires are working, not just 2. And look, that's full throttle, second gear. It's putting power down.
Like, remember like Z28? You get on the gas and it does this like tail wag first and then it grips? None of that here, right?
This car actually puts down power better than the Z28. And way better than a Camaro SS. Man, I'm having a good time. This is a great car to drive.
The other thing that I'm noticing from the passenger seat is there's a lot of compliance in the suspension. Like that bump.
Yes.
It sort of moved around a bit, but it was one and done. Like it soaked it up, heaved a bit, and came right back down. The magneto-rheological magic whatever dampers are unbelievable. So the funny thing was there was a whole bunch of rumors when the Zeta platform first came out that Holden had copied the E39 5 Series BMW. And you put them together and you start looking at the similarities and they're uncanny. And then as the years went by, we found out that some of the engineers that worked on that Zeta platform were BMW guys, and it was just a dead nuts ripoff. I mean, I remember the M5 being really good. I don't remember it being this good on track. So what better way to find out than to put the two cars on the track with Randy driving them both. On the left, the 2001 M5. On the right, the Chevy SS. So, the SS wins, and by a fairly significant 1.4 seconds. One thing to note, our M5 was on sticky, modern Michelin Pilot Supersports, which would help its lap time tremendously, except that one of its brand new Konis shocks was defective right out of the box. And the SS? Well, it was a full second and a half slower than the 2014 SS we tested here. The reason? Those chassis changes we mentioned earlier. The SS is now way slower around a racetrack, but its ride won't knock your teeth out, and that's a worthwhile trade-off that even your dentist would agree to. So let's talk about this. The SS beats the M5 around a racetrack, and it does it without any additional power. And that means it wins in handling, braking, and composure, and all that stuff that we hold the E39 in such high regard for. It's really impressive. But lap times are just one small data point. The more important thing is our smiles. Randy and I couldn't stop giggling and laughing. This is like the real deal sports sedan. This is like a new Camaro with rear doors. Nothing against the current BMW M5, but the SS is the real spiritual successor to the E39. It has that same perfect blend of speed, handling, and involvement. But like all good times, it's gotta come to an end. Chevy has confirmed there will be a 2017 model year SS, but then Holden is shutting down. With it goes the SS. And this is an immensely sad thought because you are looking at one of the best four-door driver's cars of our time, even if it does look like a Malibu.